Using the passive voice. What's the passive voice? It's the opposite of the active voice. Huh? If you're confused by this, knowing active voice, passive voice, and you want some clarity, stick around because after the intro, that's exactly what I'm going to explain.
Yeah, baby, yeah.
Hey guys, how's it going? Mr. Finn back once again to help you out with some English. And today I want to get into the passive voice. What is it and why is it used? Well, before I get to the passive voice, let me really clarify the active voice first, because once you understand that, the passive voice is very easy. So an active voice is when we have a clear subject doing an action. So my grandfather built this house. Okay, so that's the active voice. My grandfather is the subject. The action he did was to build. And what did he build? This house. So we have a clear subject, a clear action, and a clear object. My grandfather, subject, the action, built, and the object, this house. So the passive voice, what we do is we transform the object of an active sentence and we make it into the subject. This house was built by my grandfather. And this is the passive voice. So why do we use the passive voice? What is its purpose? Well, the passive voice is used when we want to give more attention to the thing that was done rather than who or what did the thing. Does that make sense? So for example, I could say, this house was built in 1961, right? So we don't really care, or we're not giving attention to who did the building, just that this house was built in 1961. And if we want to give some attention to the person who did the action, we'll finish the sentence with the preposition by, and then the person who did it. So this house was built in 1961 by my grandfather. You see how that works? It's very simple. Now, when we use the passive voice, you've got to understand there is a clear structure to this, like the present continuous and the perfect tense. And there's a clear grammatical structure to the passive voice. What we need to use, or what we need to do, is use the verb to be as the auxiliary verb, and then the main verb is in the past participle. Okay? This formula works for all the tenses. And how does it work? Well, according to what tense you're using, you're going to adjust the auxiliary verb to its temporal tense, right? So is built, was being built, had been built, have been built, will be built. You see, all of those different temporal tenses. The main verb didn't change because it's the past participle. What changes is the auxiliary verb, and that adjusts for the time, for the temporal tense. Does that make sense? So using the passive is quite simple. You just need to understand, you need to think about what is the object of an active sentence and make that into a subject of the sentence. And then the verb of the active sentence, whatever form it's in. So my grandfather built this house, so it's simple past. So you change that to this simple past passive. So this house was built by my grandfather. Make sense? So yesterday, there was a robbery. A lot of money was stolen in that robbery. You see, in this sentence, it's not necessary to say who did the action, because we know if someone steals something, it's the thief, the robbers, right? So a lot of money was stolen in the robbery by the robbers, right? So we're giving attention to the action and not who did the action, because sometimes, in this case, it's obvious. So our attention goes to what was done. So when I came home today, it looked like my wife had cleaned my office. My office had been cleaned while I was gone. See how that works? So now we have the past perfect or the past perfect passive. And that's how it works, guys, right? I can give you example after example after example. All you need to understand is the passive voice is when we're giving attention to what was done and not who did it, all right? If you like this grammar tip, if you enjoy this content, and if you haven't subscribed yet, consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so you're notified when I come out with new content, okay? So that's it for this video. I hope it was helpful for you. Leave a comment below if it was, and consider sharing it. I am Mr. Finn. and I'll see you in the next video.
Yeah, baby, yeah.
Hey, what's going on? Subscribe now. I don't understand the delay. And don't forget to check out more videos over here, and I'll see you on the next one.